Sifu isn't a fighting game. Now I know that sounds weird, but actually it's more like a game where you delicately balance risk and reward. With its contained, seemingly linear and often claustrophobic fighting arenas, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's just a slick-looking fighting game. But when you scratch beneath its veneer, you then discover an inventive aging mechanic and deceptively complex environments you can manipulate, offering you so much more than meets the eye. We're in a Sifu nightclub, but the scene resembles last orders at a Scottish wedding. To the protagonist's left, an upturned table lies in bits. To their right, shards of broken glass carpet the wooden floor. Bloodied, unconscious bodies snake from the entrance to the seating booth within which our hero now finds themselves trapped. 5 aggressors creep forward, fists clench, and it ain't looking good for the star of the show. That is, until they scale the wall at their back, hop onto the mezzanine, grab an empty bottle, and smash it square into the face of the oncoming baddie as they run up the stairs. The tumbling foe wipes out his peers like a falling rock, and in a flash, the balance of power has shifted. One thing we wanted to focus on is using the environment to our advantage, says Sifu executive producer Pierre Tarno. Jackie Chan is an inspiration here. Not for the action comedy type of vibe, but more in combat where it's one versus multiple enemies. You're getting surrounded, you have to use the environments around you, and you have to be agile, be that with makeshift weapons or when climbing up somewhere to prevent yourself from getting cornered. As such, mental sharpness is as vital to your survival as nailing the game's multitude of combination attacks. As you stare down wave upon wave of disgruntled enemies, precision and timing are definitely still crucial in Sifu, especially when breaking enemies' stamina-like, guard-breaking structure gauges, while simultaneously defending your own. In our very first vision of the game, having a lot of environmental interaction was something we aimed for, Tarno adds. In some situations, you find yourself with very little to pull on, which means you're going to have to rely purely on your fighting skills. Other situations are built to give you options with different tools and different layouts. Are there stairs? Are there couches? Are there tables? Can I climb up there? This is organised so that high-level challenges can be addressed because you've got more tools at your disposal in tight situations. Generally, we want to encourage players to play different ways, be that more aggressive or more defensive. You don't have to use the environments, but you should. It's usually beneficial to your survival. Should you fall during any of these breakneck forays, Sifu's central aging mechanic comes into play. The hands-off gameplay demo we were shown doesn't exhibit aging in motion, but in essence, every death in Sifu ages a player some years, until eventually they expire. For Tarno and his team at Slowclap, it's primarily a neat way to mess around with death, but likewise pays deference to higher brow themes of honour and mortality as framed by Kung Fu. Is one life enough to master Kung Fu, says Tarno, while asking the player, how much of your life are you willing to give for vengeance? In-game, your story unfolds over a 24-hour cycle set at various times in the day, spread across 5 levels inspired by Chinese mythology as you hunt down 5 assassins and their families. When your character dies, when you've been beaten up by the enemies and you have 0 HP, instead of going back in time, starting the level from scratch or at another checkpoint, you actually revive on the spot in front of your enemies. If you're in a situation where there were 10 enemies, you've taken down 4 of them and you die, you're actually going to stand up and take on the remaining 6. At first, you might feel invulnerable, but the twist is that every time your character revives, you age. The more you die, the faster you're going to age. For Tarno, Sifu in turn reflects the meaning of Kung Fu, mastery through practice, which, from a mechanical standpoint, presents itself in-game via a suite of fighting combos. From blocking to parrying, takedowns to dashes, verbal threats to smacking somebody upside the head with a virtuous 2x4, the variety with which you can approach Sifu's set 2s will likely call for multiple replays. Throw its aging mechanic into the mix and all the pros and cons that it entails, and you've plenty to think about in your quest for blood. Some skills are only available to young fighters, for example, while others are reserved for more mature fighters. Older fighters will deal more damage, but in turn will be weaker in defense. Tarno tells us that aging has direct implications on your path to vengeance. As a young pup, you're bound to feel invincible, what with all the on-the-spot reincarnation. But as you age, you'll learn to appreciate the gravity of your actions and, crucially, that every mistake counts. As announced at the July PlayStation State of Play, Sifu has been delayed to February 2022. Now, Would I sacrifice a few months of my life to go hands-on right now? From what I've seen so far, I think I would.